So, yeah, it's been an interesting summer. Hello guys, and welcome back to episode 18 of Hammer Time with me, Alex, and it's the start of season 3, a big season coming up for us. It's going to be a very interesting one for us. I have got my cup of coffee. It's in an elf mug. It's a bit early for Christmas, but who cares really at this point? And it's going to be an interesting bit of an episode. So I'm going to be doing the transfers throughout everything, the outs and then the ins, and there's some big ins and there's some big outs as well, actually, surprisingly. But yeah, a few interesting bits of things to cover over, and then the opening game, which I believe is against Aston Villa. So a tricky little opener to the season, but yeah, we'll get straight into the action. Right then, the big player to be leaving is Declan Rice. A really sad time to be a West Ham fan. He played 200 games for the club. It's just really sad that he wanted to go. We've got a nice tidy fee for him. I did say I wanted 95 million for him. He's probably worth more than that. We had him on contract until 2025, probably 2 years, just about 2 years left. I didn't want to see him go on a free. So 95 million for a man who was on a free is not too bad, I don't think. I think it's really good for us. So as you can see here, he's gone to PSG, 95 million. Hopefully one day he might come back, but I think that's wishful thinking. So yeah, Declan Rice is gone. A nice chunk of money for us to add to our transfer budget. And yeah, a few more outs to go. Another person who was left is Tariq Lampty. He had a pretty good year last year at PAOK. 3 goals, 2 assists, 1 player of the match, 7.11 rating in Greece. Nothing special though. You can see in Birmingham, or at Birmingham, Championship didn't really perform, as well as that SV Verda, not very good. So we brought him in on a free. We've sold him for 20 million, and I mean, to be fair, he's actually not that bad a player. It's just he's got no business being at our club. He's a pretty good right winger. Wasn't as good as Jared Bowen, but I think he just had to go at the end of the day. And speaking of which, Jared Bowen has also gone. So a player that we've brought through, 15.5 million, joined Hull for free in the Premiership. Got a few game time, had 3 fantastic years in the Championship, came to West Ham for 15.5 million. He's had 2 very average years. So to get 30 million for him is pretty good. He's gone to Arsenal, who are probably a bit of a rival, but I feel like we've eclipsed him with a signing that we've made. So hopefully this won't go to bite us in the rear. I don't think we're going to miss him because he was on 80 grand a week, and he was very much a player that just played when someone was injured or was a backup essentially. So for 30 million for a backup, I'll take. Quickly going through a few more, just highlight them. Todd Cantwell's gone as well. A player that we brought in for a free again, 14 million we sold him on for. A very average player, really average. His stats say otherwise, like your 16 composure, your 15 off the ball, 16 vision, decent passing, great dribbling, great crossing. You'd think he'd be a nice little player, but he just didn't get going at all. I mean, he's probably got in a 4-4-2, but really Todd Cantwell just didn't work out. So yeah, in fact now I'll get onto the ins, purely because I can just show you a big tally of everything that's going on at the end and just drift through them. But yeah, we'll start off with one of the ins. In terms of who has joined us, so you might have seen it in episode 16. We saw the chance to sign Yusuf De Mir. Now, I'm not entirely sure what's happened here, but he went to Barcelona, went on loan, went back to Rapid Vienna. He wasn't signed. It was a very confusing bit of a turn of events, but they didn't sign him. He then went to Rapid Vienna, played very averagely, and then we've signed him for 12.5 million. Now, at 20 years of age, he sort of eclipsed Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen a bit of a better finisher, but as an inverted winger and inside forward support, he's a very good player in it. 20 years of age with obviously the ability to adapt and become even better in this role. As you can see, potential ability sky high. He's only on 56k a week, can come in as as a backup. He can play the cam role as well, which he can play incredibly well as an advanced playmaker, might I add. Yeah, he's just come in. He's going to do the work for us. He can sort of play those right wing roles in the Champions League if I ever get back to it, or chip in here and there in the Premier League. But Yusuf De Mir, nice little signing for 12.5 million. I'm very happy with the business, especially considering he's worth 50 million. Next up in one of the key signings, we've been looking at him for a while. It's Sven Botman. Now, I actually tried to sign Sven Botman towards the start of this season, but he didn't want to come. They were asking for 70 million for him, which is completely understandable because 16 heading, 16 marking, 16 tackling. He's got great passing, first touch and technique. His physicals, although lacking acceleration and pace-wise, great jumping reach and strength, good all-round mentals. He's just a good player. He's just a very good player. But we managed to get him for 28.5 million we've managed to get him for, 34 potentially. But yeah, a really exciting little player that we brought in. Now, he is going to replace Issa Diop. Issa Diop is 2 years older, I believe, than Sven Botman. He comes in to really replace Daviv, who just wasn't the complete deal. He didn't work in the roles we were playing him in. So Sven Botman comes in to replace him. Again, a player that we've got so cheap under his value. As you can see, 70 million if you're going to be asking for. If a big team like Arsenal or Chelsea come in, you can easily ask for 60 million, easily pushing that into the 70s area. So you'd be tripling your profit essentially, near enough. So yeah, really excited to bring Sven Botman in, and he's going to really strengthen the side depth-wise, especially for Champions League football, which we'll be playing this year. Now, getting into the detail, into the hefty transfers, we look at Charles De Quettaler. Charles De Quettaler, an interesting player we've brought in from Club Brugge. Club Brugge, a lot of people were trying to pip him, were trying to get him. I've managed to get him. He looks Bruno Fernandes-esque. Probably a budget version, I'd say, for him. As you can see here, 20 goals in the Pro League, 15 goals the year before that, averaging a 7.09 and a 7.35 respectfully. Looks really good. I'm playing him in this advanced playmaker role, which was Almada's, but now we've managed to drop him and relegate him to just as a backup, a squad player, which he really is. He's great, but he's not fantastic. We can play him in the Metsala role as well if we ever play that. But yeah, De Quettaler can play pretty much anywhere on the pitch as well, as you can see here. Really, really good. Marking, tackling's decent enough as well to be playing probably that wing-back role if we ever want him to play there. But as you can see, can play up front, can play in behind the striker, and can play central midfielder. But really, really happy with the signing. He's worth, well, it rises, I believe it rises up to 33.5, which is probably about as much as we've paid for, who was it, Sven Botman, but he's worth 94 million at maximum. So I'm very happy to bring him to the club. Now then, this is an interesting one. This is a very interesting one. Tariq Lampty. Now, if you look at where he was at Brighton in the Championship. Brighton actually still in the Championship. A really, really awkward run for Brighton. They've started off the first two games pretty well this year, but Brighton's struggling, so we've actually managed to pip him for 37 million. Potentially going to 39.5, but for 37 million we managed to get Tariq Lampty, who potentially and realistically in a lot of the games that you see in Football Manager becomes a very, very good player. Now he's a complete wing-back support, which we don't necessarily play just yet, but the acceleration, the pace, everything about him, 12s all round. He's only 22 as well. He's very good. Well, I want to say very good. He's good at the moment. He's at the moment an important player. Ben Johnson sort of in and around Tariq Lamptey's ability range, but Tariq Lamptey has that higher ceiling, so we're going to see how he can perform for us, Tariq Lamptey. I've only brought him in for that much, but as you can see here, because of the English tax, 91 to 101 million if someone wants to come in like a Barcelona and want to play a very attacking right wing back. Now the only issue is he is obviously 5'5", which makes him probably the smallest man in the league, but Tariq Lamptey, an interesting player. I'm happy to bring him in. Then finally, we're on to this man. Now, Makoko, however you want to pronounce it, Yusufa, very good player. Every FM, you try and poach this man. Last year was phenomenal, was probably one of the best players on the game. This year, he still looks the real deal. The physical attributes for an 18-year-old are really good. 17 composure, the off the ball's not great, but determination, the flair, decisions could be a lot better, but you can obviously train him up in that. Dribbling, finishing and first touch all there, as well as the technique. This man's scary. He's already scored in one appearance as a sub. He's scored a goal. He scored 7 goals last year for Dortmund, I believe, when he played quite a few. He played 6 games, 4 goals. Pretty decent for him last year. I'll take that definitely. 7.03 rating the year before. As an 18-year-old, he's pretty good. We brought him in for 38 million, potentially rising to 48, but he's worth 100 odd million easily. This man is going to be our main striker once we get rid of him. Basically, we're going to get rid of Dolberg, and he's going to replace Martial up front. As you can see here, if we compare him with Anthony Martial, he's very similar. He's very similar to Martial, apart from Martial's better in the air currently. He's just about pips in Martial in most of the areas, but very, very similar, incredibly similar. The physical attributes for an 18-year-old are only going to grow, so I would ignore that for now. Mentally, you see they're both pretty much on the same sort of wavelength, but the determination a bit better by Moukoko. And then, as you can see here, technically, he's still on par with Martial. It's just, sadly, not as good technically in the air. So yeah, Moukoko's joined us. I'll just take you through a few different players as well. As you can see here, we have signed Malang Sarr. Came in for 7.5 million. Nice little signing. Just a backup for left back as well as centre back. Eddie Nketiah, a backup striker, just in case we needed him. Can also sort of act as like one of those homegrown players if we need to. Troy Parrott we've brought in. He was available. We've actually loaned him out to Standard at the moment, but 6.25 for him. Very, very good. Very, very happy. And then Yusuf De Mir obviously plays on the outs. Todd Cantwell, Fevrier, Dylan Levitt's left for 11.75 million. Bolo's gone to Everton for 11 million. He wanted to go for some unknown reason. Ben Rama as well. He's actually gone total fee. What was the total fee? 10.5 million that he's left us for, which isn't too bad, I don't think, because we've actually brought in De Mir for probably the same price. As well as that, Shed Ndur, we've brought him in, 19-year-old player on a free, might I add. Really, really good. Just in the under-23s at the moment, but a fringe player, sort of come in when I need him to, maybe in the cup games. Interesting little player. Pontius Dolberg, he's now our backup goalkeeper because Fabianski's just too old. 24-year-old backup, just a nice little backup basically. Ross Bartley come in. So these Ross Bartley, Fred and Lucas Torreira all come in just as basically players that I can sell on in the future. Ross Bartley there you can see. Fred as you can see. Lucas Torreira as you can see. Lucas Torreira, not a bad player, but yeah. And then Richie Taylor, a youngster that we've actually brought in, just a nice little player, 17 years of age, just straight comes from Liverpool. I think we signed him for what, 550k? Might potentially turn into something special. Who knows? Teeth Chong has gone, as you've seen. Ben Rama, Koufal's left to Zenit for 5.75 million. Just not going to get any game time really. Mikel Antonio's gone, as you can see. Alessi as well, and that's pretty much it. Craig Dawson as well, he's gone. So yeah, tactics wise, how are we setting up now? So this is how we're looking. We're looking pretty set actually. I like how the squad depth is going. So we're pretty set in terms of how we play in our defence. Reguilon as well, a player that I probably forgot to mention. 14.75 million. We've brought him in. He just looks like a very tidy player. And I've noticed that he pips out Tariq Mitchell, who we obviously signed last year for 13 million. Just pips him to that spot, but Tyrant Mitchell are 3 years younger, so we're going to have to see how they develop and sort of cross over depending on form. But yeah, this is how we line up basically. Sam Johnstone, sweeper keeper, defend at the moment. Reguilon, Botman, Zuma and Lamptey. Pretty nice attacking back four actually. Basuma and Souček in the midfield. Almada out on the left at the moment because Vlasic has just picked up a bit of an injury. Quettaler up front. Martial on the right, Dolberg up front, and then on the bench, as you can see, Moukoko, got De Mir, Vlasic, McKennie, Issa Diop, Ben Johnson, Eze has actually joined the club as well. He looks pretty good as a backup left winger. Cresswell's there as backup as well. Further down the squad, Nketiah is there, Tyree Mitchell as well, and then Fred, Ross Bartley and Torreira, all available for the under-23s, but just in case we need them, they're there anyway. We're going to get into the game now, see how we can fare against Aston Villa, and hopefully get an opening day winner against them. So here we go against Aston Villa, an interesting game this should be. I want to make sure obviously that we can keep an eye on their formation and how they play, because Aston Villa not particularly a fantastic side at the moment. Watkins, Ings, Bundia, all decent enough players, but Target and Gwene, Konsa Cash and Adan in net, just not doing it for me actually, as Almada sits over a corner. First highlight of the game actually this, and then it looks to be maybe a penalty as Dolberg was pushed in the back. Let's see the penalty review. Our penalty taker, I believe, is still Souček. Thomas Souček, still our penalty taker. He's a very tidy penalty taker, might I add. Saying that, will he finish this? He does. I thought I might have cursed him there, but Thomas Souček, first goal of the season, goes to him. From the penalty, as we can see here now, Souček just tucks that away nicely in the bottom left-hand corner. The goalkeeper nearly gets there, Adan. But yeah, nice start to the season. And we are actually dominating the game, might I add. I'm happy with how we've picked this side and how we're going to progress with it as well. But it's going to be difficult when you've got such strong sides such as Man United, Liverpool and City still in the league. As Buendia has managed to find Ings. James on it. James go around everyone there. And it's a pretty easy goal to score for them there. A lot of bouncing around, a few lucky bounces, but it's landed at Jem's feet, I believe his name was. As you can see, Buendia gets tackled there by Bissouma. No one picks up Jem. No one can really keep up with him. Botman lets him go by. And then the goalkeeper's left stranded as well as Ivan Jem puts it in the back of the net, which isn't handy as they're slowly getting back into the game, as you can see. Not particularly what I wanted there, but nonetheless, a decent first half. I think we've been unlucky so far. Go out there and prove me wrong. Hands on hips. I need you to step up. I want everyone to step up their games, basically, because we need something from this. As Quettaler isn't very happy with what I've said to him there. Martial's not liking that right wing role that I've got him in, so I'm going to swap them about. Let's swap them about and see if they can try and change up their game, so to speak. I want to see what they can do. I don't think he's particularly suited for this advanced forward role, whereas Martial very much is. Zuma collects the ball from the corner, a lot further back than I had anticipated. Zuma back on it. Souček now. Can he find Lampty? He can. He's got the pace to take on his man, but he doesn't. Souček back on the ball. Lampty pings in the ball. Just can't find anyone. Souček picks it up. Bissouma now. Back into Souček. We're playing it all the negative football. Does my head in. Zuma picks it back up. Botman. Into Botman again. Quettaler into Bissouma, finds Martial. This is what I wanted. Almada's thrown goal. Will he finish? Yes, he does. That interim left winger, that inverted winger role that he's not used to. He's strutting his stuff. I've got to give it him. He is strutting his stuff up front. We've put Martial up front. Dolberg pushed out onto that right-hand side. Martial can control the ball, hold it up, and Almada with a tidy finish into that bottom right-hand corner. Really well done there. Reguilon's not having a fantastic game out there, is he? But here we go, as there's a highlight straight from the kickoff. In fact, Aston Villa coming forward. Concert into Matty Cash. Matty Cash, what can he do with it? Let's see what we can do with it, if we can get it off him. Buendia finds Douglas Luiz, who's looking quite scary out here. Buendia has a shot and it's just hit the underside of the crossbar and it's come out now. So we're going to make a few changes in the 65th minute, as there's a highlight here. Oh no, Reguilon having a pretty shaky game out there. Tariq Mitchell, but he's not there. Malang Sarr is in fact there though. Dolberg having a very average game, but so is Quettaler. Quettaler is going to come off. We're going to bring Vlasic on, and for Dolberg, we're going to bring on De Mir. Just so we can let him have a bit of game time, because we're playing pretty well. I've got to admit, we're playing pretty well. We're going to carry on with this highlight. Buendia is going to whip the ball in. Can he find anyone? He can, and Watkins clips the bar and it just goes over. As we're coming up to the 86th minute now, we're still going positive. We're still let's see if we can try and not concede in the last minutes, as we normally do. Coming up to the 94th minute, 2-1 to start the season off. I'm very happy. Nice work. Considering we're not playing that defensive midfielder in Rice, we've done very well there going forward. I'm really happy with how we've performed all together. So yeah, a long episode, a really long episode. I do apologise if it's been 20 minutes or so. I didn't intend it to be that way. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy the video. A lot of transfers, a lot of things going on, and it's just been a very, very, very intense episode. A lot of information to take in, but ultimately you'll probably get to know a lot of the players that are in this side now, because a lot of them are going to be the strong players that develop and are very good in their role. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you are new, so you can keep up to date with the uploads, and I shall catch you in the next episode. From me, Alex, have a great day. Ciao.